the truth is too much. It's too hard for people to handle. The truth is too scary for people. People are scared. They get cognitive dissonance. They get terrified. They get frightened. They don't like the truth. The truth makes people feel uncomfortable. It makes people feel sad, depressed. That's why the expression "you can't handle the truth." It's too much for it. It's too shocking. I would say 9 out of 10 people, which makes about 90% of the human population. Sometimes I would say even 95%, even 99% in some cases. People cannot handle the truth. It doesn't matter if they're men, women, young, old, middle-aged. It doesn't matter if they went to university or not, if they get a college degree or not. It's like the big majority of the human population is so frightened, so scared, so shocked to the core, in the sense that it's too much for their lives. You have your typical human life, right? And you moan and complain about everything in your life, which is the typical case of any human being in any country, independently of the language. And if you add the truth to your life, then the moaning and complaining gets so uncomfortable and so difficult to grasp and to keep on with it, that simply people prefer to shut down their brain and just continue moaning and complaining about the typical things in life without thinking about the important things, which is the reality of the real world. And that's an issue. That's something that people don't think about this in their daily lives. But once they get to see certain pictures and photos and certain documents and listen to certain people showing them the reality of the real world, like in this case, and it makes you think, that thought process, the thought process of actually starting to think like a human being, with intellect and with your intelligence, and it takes you on a road which, for the big majority of the people, it's like the typical going to the rabbit hole, and it's too much. It's simply reality, even though reality is what would be normal for people. Reality would say people prefer to live in the real world. No, people actually prefer to live in a fantasy. Like there was this movie called Matrix in 1999, and one of the characters, it was played by one of the actors, who got saved from the Matrix, but he wanted to go back to the Matrix because the reality of the real world, even though it was reality, but he preferred the fantasy of a world, even though he knew it was a fantasy. But he said, I prefer to live a lie because the lie is more comfortable and more and it's nicer than the reality of the real world. Even though in the fantasy he didn't live anything, he didn't experience anything, realistically speaking, but he preferred the fake fantasies regarding food and women and money and life, rather than the reality of the real world, because the reality of the real world was bad food and the constant war with the machines and with the bad people. So he was the traitor. He was the traitor, and it was sad. Anyway, regarding this, so we are told that this is our world, planet Earth, spinning ball Earth with curved water on the exterior of the curved sphere ball. By the way, they say it spins, rotating at speeds of over 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, which is roughly 1,600 kilometers. Now, regarding that, everything spins orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles per hour, the 666, right? And the whole galaxy spins, chasing the sun through the Milky Way at 514,000 miles per hour. Everything spins, yet we live in a world where everything is still. If you go to some places and everything is so quiet and so still, it doesn't feel like moving at 1,000 miles per hour. And do things fall behind the curvature of the Earth? Because you look at the oceans and the seas, and you zoom in with the P900 or the P1000 Nikon cameras, and of course the army has telescopes that can see 200 and 300 miles away, and you don't see any curvature, and you see what should be hidden behind the curvature of the spinning ball Earth curve water, and it's disproven by basic technology. And the big majority of people, they hate the Nikon cameras, and because the big majority of people doesn't have access to military equipment, then they still yell and scream at you, saying that you're the conspiracy theorist. Does the sun truly set, as in, like, we say sunrise and sunset, or is the sun just moving away from you, which is the law of perspective? It's a law. It's not a theory. It's the law of perspective, and it gives you the illusion that the sun is setting and disappearing behind the curve, when in reality it's just moving away. And because the sun is only 50 kilometers in diameter, then of course you lose sight of it. And is water curved? Because the basic principle of physics and the reality of science, and especially because we know that Earth consists of more than 70% water, then at the physics of water, scientifically and realistically speaking, is to seek and maintain level. So how could Earth ever be a ball? Even the construction workers who don't even go to school that much, and they use the level water. They have even a device which is called the level, and it uses the water with a slight air bubble to see if the project that they did is level. This is Venus. Vibes of Cosmos explains what the stars are and the planets. They don't seem to be like solid, curved balls where you can land on, right? We all know what the stars are now. They're the imprint of the great depths of the oceans on the dome, which is the electromagnetic field, and the planets are ethereal electromagnetic fields contained one in each other. This was the Red Bull space jump by Felix Baumgartner, who died recently. He jumped from an altitude of 24 miles high, right? And he was supposed to be seeing the curvature of the Earth at that height, because say, oh, look at the curvature, and then he opened the window, and the flat horizon, and they missed the spot there, right? And they actually changed it in the they activated the fisheye lens camera, and they were showing this picture in the press and saying, look, it's the curvature of the Earth. No, it's not. It's just a fisheye lens camera. It's basic principle. Cameras that distort the flat horizon. Don't use a GoPro camera. Don't use a fisheye lens camera. Why do you want to use a camera that distorts the horizon? Just use your typical everyday normal camera that shows the reality of the real world. So everybody knows about the fisheye lenses, but nobody wants to speak about that. And yeah, is it gravity or is it density? Repeat after me. Density, density. Gravity is a theory. It's an insult to human intelligence. Density is a law. And why are the noble gases in the atmosphere and they're not falling? Oh, because the noble gases have a density which is lower than the air. That's why they float or they go upwards. Interesting, right? So yeah. And this is the amateur balloon footages, which is plenty of them, and they show horizon flat with a local sun. As you can see, there's no curvature, there's no curved water, there's no curved anything. And why would all this not be spoken about? This kind of stuff is like, these kind of things is what people don't like. People prefer, let's leave this one because, let's leave this one, fisheye lens. The truth is too much for people. Not for you specifically, but for the big majority of the human population. People get angry. They yell. They scream at you. They would want to do not so pleasant things to you just because you're telling the truth. That violent anger that comes from people yelling and screaming and calling you all sorts of things. This is the type of sad society that we live in. The truth is too much. You can't handle the truth unless you have willpower. Then you can. See you in the next video.